had noticed the tension between us and that we can't deny it, and he's open to taking the next steps. Hello everyone, welcome to some r/D&D horror stories. This one's titled My Player Fell in Love with Me, the DM, but I'm married and one of the players is my husband. Okay, this is going to be interesting. I'm typing this on mobile, so apologies for the formatting. You are all good. I've been playing D&D with my husband for 5 years, and this is my first campaign DMing. That is an experience to have for your first time DMing. I am so sorry. We're playing with his friend group, who are Pat, Marie, Dylan, not real names. We've been playing for the last 3 months, and everything has been going great so far. The party works well together, and there's no real issues except for Dylan. Okay, so Dylan is the one who fell in love. Damn it, Dylan. Dylan is playing a half-orc barbarian who fell in love with a half-elf named Shiala, and this has been a progressing storyline. For reference, he's not the only one romancing an NPC, and the rest of the party has not professed their love over text to me. Dylan! Oh my goodness. Over text as well, that is awful. Like, I know people enjoy romance in D&D, but you should always be able to understand the line between fantasy and reality. She's married, why are you professing your love to her? And you know her husband, you're her husband's friend. This is not it. After the session last night, the group went home and Dylan sent me a bunch of texts saying he had noticed the tension between us and that we can't deny it, and he's open to taking the next steps. I'm horrified, of course, and informed my husband immediately, because this is his friend. You did the right thing, first of all. Dylan is really unaware of the lines between fantasy and reality, because sure, you can roleplay and flirt as a DM with another player, but most of the time that's it, you're just roleplaying. You're not actually looking for love, and Dylan is down bad, really down bad. My goodness. I'm glad you were able to inform your husband straight away, because yeah, that's his friend. He needs to check his friend. My husband texts Dylan for a bit and then calls him and berates him for his action. Then Dylan says my husband is standing in the way of our love, and my husband hangs up and blocks him on both of our phones. We discuss the next steps and decide to cancel D&D for the time being, because I'm freaking out. The rest of the group are understanding, but man, this has been a weird Christmas. On Christmas as well? That is crazy. First of all, W husband for standing up for his wife. Second of all, good on blocking Dylan. Dylan should not be in contact with you guys because his actions are those of someone who's not reasonably grounded. Saying that the husband is standing between their love, their fictional love, is crazy. And good thing he's blocked. That is someone you can't invite back to your table. Dylan, my goodness, that is crazy. And again, on Christmas, that has to be a weird experience. I am sorry you went through this. The funny thing is, I know a lot of stories similar to this, and this is unfortunately kind of common. You give affection and someone takes it too literally. So, as a DM, always be careful about that. Same with the plays, just be careful and understand that majority of the time it's roleplay, and the feelings that you're roleplaying with aren't usually real. The next story is titled Unfulfilling Death. This death was the second campaign I had ever played. Most people were from the same group, with a few new people. This campaign was called Castle Amber. I'm playing a new character for this campaign. It's the second session and I've not been in combat or done anything with my character besides roleplay. This already is a warning sign. You see, combat's being mentioned and they've not been able to participate in it, which means the DM is preventing them from doing certain things because it implies that other people have been fighting. So that's already strange. And only being able to roleplay is fine. Sometimes you have those sessions, but there's already an issue there. You're being excluded from the group apart from doing things like roleplaying. I drank the brandy and missed a wisdom save. My character's dead. No death saves, no ability to revive, or make a new character. Okay, this DM is not for you, honestly. This DM is just a bad DM. No DM does something like this, just an instant death. That implies that they wanted to get rid of you to begin with, and kind of treat your character like a joke. All you have to do is drink brandy. Brandy would just make you drunk, not kill you instantly. I don't get this DM's reasoning of thinking. I'm such a new player, it takes 5 to 6 hours to make a character. I do a lot of research, then build my character, create a backstory, and gear them in-game. We have received moderate backstory regulations for the character, and we're told not to create additional characters in the event of immediate death, to keep us in the game. Okay, that's already even worse. They made sure that you couldn't continue on. They wanted to get rid of you straight away from the implication. Just kill characters and move on, especially considering you spent 5 to 6 hours to make a character. This DM does not respect your time, and I am sorry for this experience. This truly is a horror story. This was the mostly unmodified original campaign, not revamped for 5e. I am not okay with a character I spent so much time creating and enjoy playing getting deleted for what's essentially a joke encounter. D&D is not for me. No, that DM is not for you. D&D is for you considering you enjoyed making your character, you spend the time to make your character. This DM just doesn't respect the hours that you put into creating your character. And treating you as a joke is super disrespectful. Just essentially getting rid of you for no apparent reason. And once again, I'm sorry for your experience. This is a message for all DMs. Don't make instant death a thing unless your players know about it. The only time it's acceptable is honestly in a campaign such as Tomb of Annihilation, or where you've told your players beforehand. If you prevented your players from making new characters only to immediately kill them, that is going to create negative feelings around the table. Players completely ignore my character parameters. Here's a pretty short one. So about a year ago, I was gearing up to run Curse of Strahd and was quite excited. I told my 3 players this about the character creation. I know this game is going to be gothic and spooky, but your characters aren't from here and don't know what's going on here, so I want normal characters that will fit in any generic campaign. Honestly, that's a pretty fair requirement for Curse of Strahd, considering it kind of works like an isekai. You're taken from one place into another place, which is Barovia, and it makes sense your characters will be normal classes like knights or paladins, etc, etc. So that's a really fair thing. And also the DM was quite excited to run Curse of Strahd, which is great to hear. Also, please don't bother me with any homebrew. I occasionally am fine with races or spells, but I mostly like to keep things raw. Completely fair again. Homebrews can be game breaking or just be a lot to consider when you're running a campaign, so it's completely fair just to have it out. You know, always depends on the DM if they want to run homebrew or not, and this DM doesn't want to. That's fair. Here's what I received over the next few weeks for characters. A living scarecrow, which the player had become very attached to and would be very sad if they didn't let them play it. A Denver tiefling who was a monster hunter. A plague doctor with the plague doctor homebrew class, who under the outfit was basically Frankenstein's monster. Okay, it seems like your players just ignored everything. However, I don't think it was out of malice. Because if they all did it, that means there might have been a misunderstanding somewhere, or they just really wanted to play certain characters. And I think your vibe and their vibe were just very different at this point of time. But also it's crazy that you said no homebrew and then they go for homebrew. So there's an issue that you need to communicate with. However, it doesn't seem super bad. Honestly, I don't think this was malicious or on purpose. I could have sworn this was a joke if I didn't know the players so well. Okay, yeah, this was definitely not out of malice, and the DM does know the players very well. Ended up scrapping Curse of Strahd and playing a different campaign instead. That's really unfortunate again, considering how excited you were for Curse of Strahd, only to have it cancelled. However, you did choose to stay with the same player group, which means you are attached to the players, so overall it's not too bad, but I understand the disappointment with not being able to run Curse of Strahd. I suck at DMing, but that's no excuse for completely derailing the campaign and getting everyone killed. For context, this is my first time DMing, but I wanted to give it my best shot, so I watched everything I could on the subject. That's honestly a good mindset to have. Watching and making sure you have the knowledge of DMing is great. However, avoid falling into the trap of copying other DMs. Try and find your own style and you'll find it during your game instead of sticking very heavily to what other DMs do. The one thing I will say, and the bit of advice I can give to every new DM, is just do your best. Don't care about anything else, just do your best and usually it will work out. I didn't want to railroad or hold hands because that ruins the spirit of D&D, but my players weren't playing as characters, they were playing as themselves. All well and good, a good character takes a good amount of work, but the problem is that they chose to go completely immoral. Going immoral can be a real big issue due to the fact that this can mean that you have a murder hobo-ish party, which can be really frustrating. Sometimes you need to have a talk with them early on to figure out what kind of vibe they're going for. Same with their roleplay. If they're not roleplaying and just being themselves, the issue can easily be that they're just not used to roleplaying, they're also new. Or you need to bring it up from the start that they should be roleplaying as well. It's something that you can just give them a little nudge to do more. Literally every bad decision that they could have made, they did. Kill someone instead of negotiating? Done. Not apologizing and fleeing the country? Done. Slaughtering a town of innocents? Done. Now, if they wanted to be villains, I feel that could have been something they discussed beforehand, but it wasn't. I even asked them if they wanted to be the bad guys and they said no. Okay, I really feel that this group didn't know what they wanted to do and kind of just decided to be murder hobos halfway through. Because everything they've done is just typical murder hoboing, which can be annoying / an issue, and it seems that the DM did try and talk to them beforehand. The issue is you phrase it as villains, and most people don't want to consider themselves to be villains, even if they're slaughtering a ton of innocents. Like, if you described it as you want to do a fun murder hobo campaign, then they might have done it, or, oh, you guys want to be outlaws. I want there to be consequences, but holy hell, there's only so many factions they pissed off. I actually can't decide. Here's a comprehensive list. The most powerful country in the world, the strongest man in the world, wild dinosaurs, the Mechanics Guild, every god, wizard, knights, parasites, vikings, necromancers, and the Gun Guild. They pissed off a lot of people. That's kind of impressive in the worst way. They all got themselves killed and I had to bring them back, thinking they had learned their lesson, but no, they went right back to killing innocents. Okay, this party really feels disjointed. The DM has one idea and the players have another idea, and it's really unfortunate that the tones are clashing very, very heavily. So, the next session, I'm getting the main villain to kill them all and finally end this campaign. That is not a good move. I feel like you can just talk to them and just end the campaign if you're not having fun. Killing them off feels just like a punishment for them not following the rules. If you're not having fun, just tell them and leave it. That's the best thing you can do. But I feel like this could have all been avoided if they were clear on their goals. That's the worst part. Yeah, again. Overall, this is a story of a DM and party that just aren't meshing well together, and honestly, the way they handle things is bad, but also the same way the way you handle things is also bad. Just end the campaign. You don't need to continue it. You don't need to feel like you have to punish them. You can just end the campaign. That is probably the best solution. My fellow players started hitting on me through my D&D character. First time poster. So last year I played D&D for the first time with a group of friends. We've known each other for years. I played a tiefling sorcerer. One of my friends who I was sat next to at the table kept calling my character pretty boy, sexy, or himbo. I don't mind this at all at first, but then they started saying these things to me out of game. Okay, in-game and out-of-game interaction should always be different. You shouldn't be constantly flirting or calling another person pretty boy or sexy out of game, especially if you don't have that relationship or friendship like that. That's really strange and just a red flag. Going as far to introduce me as pretty boy to people and touching my hair, face, and shoulders. I'm not that physically affectionate and I'm in a committed relationship. My friend knew this. Okay, your friend wants a lot more. The fact that they're being physical and the fact they're using the nickname that they use from D&D seems like the nickname's just an excuse so they can do that to you IRL. And the fact that they're touching you, knowing that you're not physically affectionate, and knowing you're in a committed relationship, shows that friend just doesn't care. In game, they started blocking my roles, speaking over me, and started telling me what I can and can't do, which I later found out were not problems. Not to mention the sudden racism. We are a mixed group of people and do not share these views. It suddenly took us by surprise that our friend of years suddenly viewed groups in a groupie type of way. Okay, your friend seems to have a lot of red flags. First of all, telling you what you can and can't do shows that they're very controlling. Sudden racism is just really bad. It means they got really comfortable and kind of went mask off, so just went full racism. It kind of shows what they were originally. So that's a red flag. Honestly, I would just leave that group at that point and just stop talking to that person that you would consider a friend. I told my DM about this. He didn't do anything. I started skipping sessions so I wouldn't get touched or flirted with. I did tell them to leave me alone and my friends said they understand and that they were sorry that they had made me uncomfortable. Okay, at least they apologized. Again, very strange sudden racism, but understandable that they apologized and they were aware that they were making you uncomfortable. So that's good. The fact that you withdrew yourself is also good, but the issue is the DM. They should step in and talk about this on the table and address the issue. That's what they should have done. The fact that the DM didn't do this kind of implies they were possibly jealous of the affection you were getting. Lo and behold, the next session, they poked me in my side to get my attention. The only part of my body shown. I lost it. I said I would not be playing D&D unless they were removed. My DM didn't do anything. They left the group and we all stopped playing together. Okay, good ultimatum, you should never have your boundaries crossed like that. And again, I'm sorry that that happened to you. The fact that your DM isn't doing anything really goes to show that they don't care. And the fact that they're allowing this means they care about the other player instead of you. I later found out the DM and that player moved in with each other. I wanted to get into D&D again, but wow, this sticks with me. It's really unfortunate that this was your first D&D experience, and hopefully it will get better. You just need to find the right group. As for the DM and that player, they are terrible, in all honesty. It really seems like that player was just trying to flirt with you and the DM was kind of jealous of you and the attention you were getting, so they didn't view it as a big deal. And the fact that your boundaries kept on getting crossed and the DM didn't do anything really goes to show how much the DM didn't care about you. And now that the DM and that player are moving in together, it seems the DM is getting the affection that they wanted and that you were getting from that player. So overall, really bad experience. Sorry you went through that, and I really hope that you can find a group that you can play D&D with, because not all D&D is like this. Those were some D&D horror stories. If you enjoyed content like this, make sure you subscribe, and feel free to check out my live streams. I'm usually streaming 5 days a week. Catch you later. Goodbye.